I'm a screenshot. Research.
All right, Ian. Generational curses. What's going on? What's going on? Hey, Melissa. Thanks for joining us today. Hey, Cobra.
Happy Wednesday, everyone. Hey, baby.
What's going on with you? How is everything?
Everything is marvelous. I'm feeling like a brand new car fully loaded with features.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
How are you feeling?
I'm good. I can't complain, Can't complain. How are you, Melissa?
Hey, Melissa.
Thank you for joining. So, hey, Fair Exchange. What's going on?
Hey, everyone.
All right. I want to dive on in. We are talking about generational curses. Good. That's good. I'm so glad you joined. I'm so glad. How are you, Fair? How you doing? So today we wanted to talk about generational curses. I wanted to start off sharing a story that I found. And it was very intriguing to me. So I wanted to share it with you guys before we dive into the conversation. So I'm going to share my screen so we can look at it together. But of course, I'll read it to you guys. And just let me know if you can see that. Can you see it?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay. So I'm going to just start off. Wait 1 second.
Let me go on my phone to check the chat. Can you guys in the chat see it?
Yeah, I'm going to pull it back up again. Wait a minute. I gotta remove it.
Because I can see it. I see generational curses in a hand.
Okay. So I'm gonna do it again. And
I cannot see the chat. I hate that.
Okay. You can't see the chat?
No, like I'm on StreamYard, so I'm not actually like logged into the chat. Yeah. So if I go and click on chat, I won't be able to see.
Okay, so I'm going to what I'll do is, because I can't see the chat either because I'm about to read this story, but I do want somebody to be watching the chat when people come in. So
okay, so let me go in because I got to go in and out because I got my notes. So let me go in right now where you have that up to our video. Let me make sure I turn on my volume. We don't want any feedback.
Okay.
So, let me see where we are right now. All right, good. So
you know what? I could just do it this way.
I'm in there.
You can see it?
Yeah, I can see chat.
Okay. Okay. So the name of this is A Generational Curse, a 24-Hour Epiphany. And this is by Janae Galbert. And so I did read this story last night, and it was very intriguing. So I wanted to share it with you guys. So we'll start with, okay. After my mother's passing, I learned that she left me 3 things: $20,000, our family home, and a small locked safe with a key. I'm grateful for the things I was given, but I'll leave this safe as a personal relic for her and her eternal soul. I lost my mother 2 weeks ago. She was killed by my father. He was a drunk, abusive, manipulative. Unfortunately, he had chains around her wrists and ankles. One time, my mother came home late from work. My father was already a mess. The lack of dinner made everything worse. That evening, she gave me a goodnight kiss with a swollen purple eye. Every time I think about these experiences, I get overwhelmed. I want to bring her back and ask her why we had to endure that. But I can't. Life goes on. Life ends as well. Why am I thinking about this now? I should be working. I turn my head to look at the time, 6:50 p.m. As I continue typing, I gradually lose my train of thought, instead making up false facts about climate change. This, wait a minute, this is just word vomit. College was always difficult, but now it seems impossible. I close my laptop and grab my phone. The amount of condolences people are sending me is more than I can count, but the amount of comfort I feel appears to be none. All these thoughts circulate my head, but soon after are replaced by lucid dreams. I wake up to 6 missed calls from Hebrew, my boyfriend. He made this already horrible experience worse. He still wants sex consistently. He wants me near him all the time, despite my constant need of solitude. Where are you? Hello? What the fuck? Why aren't you answering? If you want to be single, I swear to God, just say it. No more games. I'm sorry. I know you're stressed, but I'm stressed too, and I want to see you. Christ. Texting back. Texting back isn't a great idea, so I decided to make coffee instead. 4:32 a.m. My sleep schedule is still questionable. My mind, my dreams, they're confusing. Melancholy is bizarre. It makes me miss my mom. It also makes me curious about her useless things she left me. That's safe. My phone buzzed me out of my thoughts. I grabbed it and read the notification. You up? He's calm now, so I decided to text him back. Yes, what's up? Can I come over? Yes. My stomach decided against me. I truly don't want to see him right now, but to keep the peace, I will. 5:28 a.m. How are you doing? His eyes told me everything I needed to know. The way he's paying close attention to me, he's staring at me. He wants to have sex. I'm fine. I blurted out to cover up my suspicions. He starts to rub my thigh. I've been super worried about you. You know that, right? Yeah, I know. I'm just focusing on getting better at school and school. I don't bother. Wait a minute. I don't bother looking at him. I'm trying to play innocent, sad girlfriend. My vulnerability makes him feel powerful. Come here. Let's lay down. He pulls me towards the bed gently and wrapped his arm around my shoulders. I love you. I love you too. I closed my eyes to try and drift off to sleep. Maybe I was wrong. He may actually be trying to comfort me. 5 minutes later, his hand swipes past my thigh, bringing me back to my naive thoughts. Hebrew, not tonight, please. I spoke into his chest. Come on, it's been so long, just a little. He continues rubbing my back and more aggressively now. Stop, please. I looked up at his face. Fuck, Delilah, you're impossible. I've been putting up with this for weeks. I know losing your parents sucks, but you're trying to ruin this. He got out of bed and grabbed his keys. Come here. I started pouting at him. What? He wasn't asking. Lie down with me. I grabbed his forearm and pulled him down. I started kissing his neck and shoulders, giving him the okay to satisfy himself. Anything to keep the peace. 7:45 a.m. Hebrew is beside me, sleeping, naked. I decided to stay up and read. As I scanned the pages of the novel, my mind drifted back to my mom's safe. Lack of self-control led me out of the bed into her and Dad's old room. As I opened the door, my nose scrunched up in disgust. Blood. I went to the closet and grabbed my mom's safe. I hesitantly stuck the key in the hole. As I heard the lock click, I raised up the top. A black book? I grabbed it and took it into my room. As I laid in my bed, my heart started giving my rib cage high fives as I read my mom's handwriting. We find ourselves in situations that don't suit us. Sometimes we remain ignorant, which results in us bringing other people into unsuitable situations. Mom went through the same thing. My father almost killed her. She eventually left him and he killed himself. We didn't have a funeral. Your dad and I hit it off at first. He sent me flowers. He took me on dates. He made love to me. But after we got married, he started drinking more and more. When you were younger, he disciplined you in ways I couldn't forgive. He treated you like he hated you. His time of judgment will come. I'm so sorry I wasn't able to break the curse for you. When you were born, I made a savings account for you. I tried to save as much as I could, but with the joint account with your father, I couldn't put much. In the event that something were to happen to me, in the event that you repeat the same mistakes your grandmother and I made, I want you to get out. I want you to live. This notebook contains contact information to safe family members in New Zealand. There's at least 200 names and numbers. For security reasons, I didn't put any address in the book, but once you call, they'll help you. I know this is all of a sudden, but because of the state that we are in, I want to make sure I can help you one last time. I would love for you to leave as soon as you can. I love you. Impulsively shutting the book, sucker punched me out of a trance. I opened it again in disbelief and turned the pages. I saw countless names and numbers of strangers. You guys can see the names and the numbers. I don't want to read all that. Is everybody okay following along? Oh, wait.
Yes. I'm looking at the chat.
Okay.
Everything is copacetic.
Okay. Hey, Miss T. Who else joined? Okay, thank you. Okay, so it's a list of numbers. It's like 3 numbers here. Rosalie Mitchell, Mike Mitchell, Scott Durham. Okay. The list keeps going for pages, yet I don't know any of these people. Why would she think I would want to live with them? I kept turning until I stopped at a photo mark book near the end. Taking out the photo, I got hit with an odd deja vu. It was my mother and a small child, I'm assuming me. I'm the only dark-skinned child in our immediate family. There was another lady touching my mom's shoulder and smiling at me. I turned the photo over and saw Mommy and Rosie, 1998. Rosalie, were they sisters? The information about my dad didn't surprise me. He was always cold towards me. He always beat me and told me that women needed to learn to respect men at all times. However, this stuff with my mom really scares me. Why didn't she get out sooner? She had all this family but never left. She couldn't use the money for her. She could have used the money for herself. Sometimes we remain ignorant, which results in us bringing other people into unsuitable situations. Is she talking about me? That's bullshit. She knew the risk and decided to have me anyway. No one lives at this house except for me. I'm staying. You okay? His raspy voice brought me back to reality. I looked at him and smiled. Yeah, I was just reminiscing. I'm hungry. Please, last night left me starving. He squeezed my thigh, referenced the terrible sex we had. I got up from the bed and headed to the kitchen. He trailed behind me, trying to grab my butt like an immature high school teen. Eggs and waffles? The perkiness of my voice excites him enough to come closer to me. He starts kissing my neck. Please. Yes, please. But can it wait like 10 minutes, right? I'm impulsed. Hey, Hebrew, Not right now. Let me cook breakfast. I unwrapped his arms from around my waist and headed towards the stove to warm up. He follows me again, playfully, and wraps his arm tighter around me. You're not going anywhere, beautiful. Come on, just one more time. He kisses my neck. I'm getting nauseous. My instincts forcibly push him off, and he falls back into the kitchen. Oh shit. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be so aggressive. I looked down and forced out a nervous chuckle. When I looked back up, he was staring at me while walking towards me. The closer he got, the more I backed away until he reached the stove. He got closer and closer until his hands was wrapped around my neck. He gripped like a He gripped like a snake finishing off its prey before it eats. I grabbed his arm to move it, but he's too strong. It was futile. I was slowly losing air and consciousness. In the event that you repeat the same mistakes your grandmother and I made, I want you to get out. Mom, I need you. How did you know? Hebrew's voice snatched me from my thoughts. If you ever do that shit again, I will make you sorry you ever thought you could, fucking bitch. I'm so taken aback by his words that him kissing me and opening the front door to leave didn't register with my brain for a moment. I rubbed my neck. It was now bruised. I stood up and walked in my parents' room, flinching once more at the smell of blood. Dad hit Mom with a glass bottle. I go to her nightstand and grab her old medicine bottles. He grabbed her throat and took off her head. I opened the strongest prescription I could see and take all the pills out as I lay on the bed. Mom tried kicking him multiple times as he continued strangling her. I grabbed 13 pills and head for the kitchen to drink water. Her lifeless body lay on the floor beside the bed. I want you to get out. I want you to live. I want you to live. Mom. As I was heading to the kitchen with full intent to end my life, Mom's black book was staring at me from inside the room. I slowly walked towards it, sat on the bed, and opened the book again. I grabbed my phone and I dialed. She dialed the first number that was in the beginning. It rang 4 times before before an obnoxiously high voice answer. Hello? Hi, my name is Kendra. Kendra, sweetheart? You don't know how long I've been waiting to hear your beautiful voice. I'm not saying anything. I'm completely overwhelmed by the excitement of this person. Kenny, is she gone? Her voice suddenly sounds sad. Yeah, I don't know what to do. Tears kept spilling as I tried to put together sentences. I know, but your mother did. I can't agree with every decision she made, but when it came to you, for some reason, she was very logical. Weird, right? I let out a nervous laugh at her joke attempt. Really weird. I trailed off as I thought about the decisions that have to be made moving forward. Whatever they were, I don't think Mom intended for Hebrew to be a part of them. I want you to live. I want you to get out. I get it now, Mom. I'll live for the both of us. Thank you.
Oh, that was deep.
Right.
I just got one thing to say. I would have knocked that nigga in that kitchen. It would have been something.
Yeah. So that was one example of, I guess, a generational curse. And because as the book said, her grandmother was beaten by her husband. Her mom got killed being beaten by her husband. And here she was repeating the same cycle, letting this man beat on her.
I feel like that is a bad generational decision and not a generational curse. Because I mean, she's seen that happen to her grandma, then her mom repeat the same thing, and vice versa. I mean, she could have easily walked away or avoided being with that type of person due to the fact that, you know, it's a decision. Just like we were talking like about me and my situation with my parents. It's a decision. I could choose to be the opposite of them if I want to.
Correct. Yeah, that was a poor, I think that could be considered as poor generational choices. So, but when it comes to generational curse, they put it in a biblical sense sometimes. It says matters of faith, what we believe and practice, how we live our lives as Christian can only be determined by a correct understanding of the scripture. Those who teach generational curse interpret these verses to mean that a person's guilt is genetically passed down to all his descendants. People not only inherit their ancestors' sin nature, the tendency all have to rebel against God, but they also acquire and accumulate guilt of their ancestors. As a result, God sees them as guilty, not only for their own sins, but also for their ancestors as well. Furthermore, Satan has the right to continue to hold legal claim against Christians who have not effectively dealt with their generational curses, resulting in failure, violence, impotence, profanity, obesity, poverty, shame, sickness, grief, fear, and even physical death.
So I see another scripture that when you talk about the Bible, it says the sons will not share the guilt of their fathers, nor will the fathers share the guilt of their sons.
Correct.
So that goes against the whole generational curse in the Bible thing for me. I might be wrong. I might have read that wrong. I might have understood it wrong.
No, you're absolutely right. I read that too. See, the thing about it is with these Bible verses, what I come to realize is people take things from the Bible and they apply it to their everyday life. But when those scriptures was written, it was for what was happening in that time. And some people can't really differentiate the two. They make it so he's taught, the scripture is based on today. If that makes sense.
Yes.
Satan comes before the throne and shows legal rights to attack your body or finances. It is decided on if the claims are valid, if he is allowed to do as a petition against you and your family. These are scriptures based on like Exodus. It's so many different scriptures, but again, it was based on Moses and I don't want to quote the Bible. I really don't know too much about the Bible, but I do know some things about the Bible. But I do understand that people get it a little confused, and it's okay to take certain things and apply it to your everyday life. But when it comes to these generational curses versus bad generational decisions, there is a difference.
Melissa.
What Melissa say? So it's my ancestors' fault that I'm fat. Right. No, right, correct. But Melissa, let me just say this. Sometimes you might have, we all fat in our family. So they are literally making it okay and like kind of feed you or they continue to practice these things that they know is not healthy, because they are already, catering to the fact that, oh, it's going from generation anyway. You're going to be like this anyway. Like, just say, like, I hear it all the time. Your daughter's going to be shaped just like you. And we'll feed into that.
Or you have family members that say, everybody in the family just naturally big bone. We some big bone women. Yeah.
Right. Or, you drink just like your father. Those are generational bad decisions. I don't think I wouldn't agree that they're curses. I also read the other day. I'll put this up because I really liked this. The real curse is believing we are powerless to break these familiar patterns.
Right. I believe so, because honestly, we do have the power to break these patterns. It's just up to you whether you want to do it or not. You can use that as like, okay, so I use a lot of stuff as an excuse for my messed up behavior. I know I can change.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
But it always sounds better. Well,
Fear said it's their fault. They should have made soul food so damn
good. Soul food is good.
Correct. So when it comes to bad decisions, how many of us hide behind the guise of inheriting issues to dodge the responsibility of having to resolve them?
Me.
Yeah.
Me.
And
like, I gotta leave in like 2 minutes. Dang.
It's okay. It's all right. I mean, I'm gonna finish it out though. And you catch the replay, Cobra. Take care of what you need to take care of. I'm going to just finish this out because I'm not going to stop it. But good luck in whatever you're going to do. I wish you well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
For me.
Wait, hold on 1 second, guys.
Hey, I'll see you guys later.
Okay, guys, I'm back. I apologize for that. Cobra had to go. But I was asking the question, how many of us hide behind the guise of inherited issues to dodge the responsibility of having to resolve them? Let's just say drinking. Because we know our fathers or our mothers was heavy drinkers, so we just already assumed the position that we're going to be heavy drinkers, or we know how to hold our liquors, or we're going to smoke. We're smokers because our parents or grandparents was smokers or whatever. When we take the Bible passage as proof positive that our problematic behavior is everyone else's fault, we render ourselves helpless to defend against it and embrace a level of victimhood that keeps us trapped in the cycle. Let me see. And this right here is just telling, this is really just the verse. If you drop the link, I have some thoughts. Oh, yes. Wait a minute. Yeah, let me drop the link. Anybody that want to jump on, please do so. Help me out with this. I appreciate it. Hey, Tanya Jones, thank you. Thank you for stopping through, breezing through, and listening to what we're talking about. Also, it says the curses referred. The curses referred to in the Bible don't appear to be curses at all. They're more like consequences, specifically for disobedience towards God. A combination of genetic, environmental, and developmental factors make a person more susceptible to something like alcoholism, drug abuse, or poor health. Many of us are participants in our own spiritual imprisonment, opposed to and pawns of a higher power. As opposed to, I'm sorry, let me read that again. Many of us are participants in our own spiritual imprisonment, as opposed to simply pawns of a higher power. So, let me. Hey, Melissa.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
I saw you up here by yourself, so I'm like, I can jump up here.
Thank you. Thank you.
But I did have a comment about the subject because you know what? I was thinking about what you guys were saying about choices or decisions versus the curse. And I had never really thought about it that way, but I guess that, there really is a difference with whether you decide or not. Because I know with me, when I got married, I waited a long time to get married. I was like 35. I got married on my 35th birthday. And I was dragging my feet because honestly, I never really wanted to get married, but I did want a family. And, I wanted to do it the quote unquote, proper way. So got married, had my daughter, but I wasn't really like just happy with the situation. And it's not as bad, praise the Lord. It's not as bad as what that story talked about, because I've never had anyone to get physical with me about anything. But what I did have an issue with was infidelity. So I'm that type of person. You're not going to cheat on me. I'm sorry.
Right.
But the thing was, I was living down in Florida. I didn't have any family there. It was just me, my husband, and my daughter. And when everything happened, it was like it wasn't even nothing to think about, because I was like, you know what? If I stay here and stay in this marriage and let my daughter see her dad going out, coming in when he wants to, just basically disrespect, I can never say anything to her later if she does the same thing. So it's like I had to make the decision then. We're not passing this down, because I can honestly say in my household, I never saw that. Like my dad came home every night. And it wasn't an issue. So I guess it could be a generational good thing too, because I'm like, I'm not gonna break that.
Well, yeah, it could have been a bad generational decision. Maybe.
Yeah.
And it could have led on and it passed down from you to your daughter, and then she passed it down to her kids. And it's just something that, it's embedded into you, saying you have to stay no matter what. And there are a lot of women and men who feel that way. No matter what, you keep your family together.
Right.
And it could be so many things going on in the family that is so that's traumatic and so toxic. But being that it's a generational thing, it's something that we're used to doing, we don't feel it's necessary to even break that. We just go along and deal with it.
And you know what's funny? While you were talking, I was just sitting here thinking, it kind of still was a generational curse, because like with my parents have been together. Let me see. I just turned 47. My parents been together for 46 years, because they got married when I was 18 months old. And it was sort of like how I was saying, I wanted to do it the right way. So when my dad found out,
let me just speak to Ahmed Brown. Hey, Ahmed Brown, thank you for stopping by. I apologize. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead, Melissa.
No, it's okay. Hey, Ahmed, I got a chance to go to her live Friday for the first time, and it was a lot of fun.
Yes, I love it.
But it's like, I guess our generational curse or decision is to do the right thing regardless of whether you're happy. Because like I grew up, my parents are still together. They've been together for 46 years, but I can't say that the 46 years have been just happy and full of joy. And sometimes it may not be toxic as in fighting and this, that, and the other, but you can tell when people aren't happy. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like I said, I drug my feet on getting married because I watched my parents be together, but not really be just thrilled with each other. And I'm like, I'm not doing it. But then I turned around and did it.
Yes, and sometimes you do it unintentionally. You don't even realize you're following in your parents' footsteps. And this is what I'm saying: a generational bad decision making. I hear so many people, and at one point I was the same way, always saying, I don't want to be like my mother. I don't want to do this like my mother. And you wind up starting to do the exact thing your mother did, if not a little different, but about the same. And you like, wow, you didn't even intentionally do it, but it just happened that way.
It's funny because, you know, honestly, until I just thought about it when you were talking, I never really thought about it until just then. Like, I did the same damn thing my daddy did. Only difference is they had the baby first, and I did it the opposite, but it still was the same principle. You want to be married and settled when you have a family or whatever. Right. And like, I think my divorce was the best decision I ever made, so I don't have no regrets. But you know, I just couldn't do that. You know, a lot of people like they don't want to break up the family regardless. I got people that tell me that all the time, and I'm like, but what if you are miserable? You know, is it worth it to stay with somebody? Just it's like what were you talking about the other? It was something you were talking about the other week. Either you or Bernadette, but I remember thinking it's like sometimes there's nothing wrong with what you got, but you kind of want something new, but you don't buy anything new because it's like, oh, this TV still work good, even though it's not the latest model, it still works good. So
Yeah,
I'm not gonna get rid of it, but all the time you thinking you wish you had something else. And I don't want to talk about marriage like it's so that I'm thinking about it so nonchalantly that if you're not happy, just leave. But I'm like, sometimes you don't know when you get married that person ain't for you until you in there. And does that mean you stay just because, you know, well, I did it now?
Let me just say this. Marriage is a commitment. It's work. It's like it's a partnership. It's not just always going to be happy days. They're going to be happy days, sad days, good days, bad days. However, when you're in a relationship and you're married and you're in this relationship where you're not feeling fulfilled in anything, if you are going through abuse, if you're going through your partner being an adulterer, if he's not a provider, if the house is falling apart because he or you can't get it together, y'all are just not doing the thing right and the house is falling apart, what's the risk of you taking to do better? What's the problem with that? And sometimes it might not be with that person. That's the hardcore truth about it.
That's true.
You know, and
like I said, I don't want people to think I'm taking marriage lightly, because I really did take my vows seriously. I never cheated. I put 110% into it, but shit, after the first year, I knew it wasn't for me.
And I'm not saying that because some people can forgive if he cheats on them. That's to each his own. You know, I'm not going to sit up here and say, oh, he cheated, you better leave him out. That's one thing I will never do. I will never tell a person when to leave their mate, because I'm not in that predicament, and I'm not going to tell you when you should stop loving, caring for your mate. I'm not going to do that. But I will challenge you to challenge yourself and say, is it worth me staying or moving on? And that's kind of a real difficult decision that people have to make, but it's real. And the more you stay, the more you lose yourself in something that's not making you happy.
Right. And to me, that's the key point. You're going to be miserable. You just going to stay and be miserable. Like now, and I guess it is generational, because my brother, the same thing happened with my brother. He divorced his wife like a year ago, and they had been together since 2002. And they would, it seemed like every other year they were separating and getting back together. And he's like, well, we got to, because they have two girls. And he's like, well, we're going to try to make it work for the girls. And I'm thinking, do you not know that your girls can see that y'all are not happy? And even with that, like you said, I never told him to leave, even when she would call and ask me stuff, which I don't like to get into, relative stuff. But I would just tell her, I can't tell you what to do. All I can tell you is you need to do what's going to be the best for you. Now, if they're staying, stay. If it's going, go. But, I'm like you. I couldn't take the responsibility of telling somebody to leave their mate.
Right. Let me get back to the subject, because we kind of veered off.
Yeah, we did. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay though. It's good conversation. I have no problem with it. And I thank you again for coming up here with me. Let me read you something else. The Old Testament divided people into two categories: the cursed and the blessed. Those who obeyed God were good and therefore blessed, and those who disobeyed were bad and therefore cursed. Living according to God's word was thought to improve the quality of one's life, and living a sinful life is. Am I echoing?
Not to me.
I hear myself echoing.
I don't hear it.
Okay. Let me read that part again. Living according to God's word was thought to improve the quality of one's life, and living a sinful life was thought to make life increasingly more difficult. But there's a clear division between the deserving and the undeserving that exists only in the Bible. So if you go on the Bible, it's basically saying, if you're not a good person, your life is going to be cursed. Do I believe that to a certain degree? I don't believe it will be cursed, but I do believe you'll see more hard time. And when I say being a good person and living godly, I don't mean, because we come from sin. So God knows that we're going to sin. But what I mean is just being indulging in sin purposely and every day, all day, and just never wanting to do anything good, just being a bad person. That's what being a bad person to me is. It's not making mistakes that we're going to make every day. It's not making, sometimes you're going to make bad decisions and you learn from them, but you don't keep making those same bad decisions. You understand? That makes sense to you.
Yeah, that does make sense. And it's like the article or the story that you just read a few minutes ago makes it sound so black and white and so cut and dry. Like, you do this, you win. You do this, you lose. But that's not necessarily a consistent thing either, because you have people all the time saying that they do the right thing all the time, but then still seems like the person that's doing the wrong things are living a better life, or seem to be going through less stuff. So
right.
I don't think it's black and white. Like, if you do everything perfect, your life is going to be perfect. We're all going to be tested in one way or another. And and I always think about the story of Job in the Bible, because people always talk about having the patience of Job, and I don't know if you're familiar with the story, but he went through all of this stuff, and his wife kept telling him, just curse God and die. And he's like, he refused to do it. Mm-hmm. And the way I've heard the story, and I'm not I don't know the Bible like back of my hand, but right. From the way I was taught the story, the devil, it's like the Lord was saying that the devil could mess with everything except Job himself. So he lost his cattle, he lost his home, he lost his kids, he lost everything. But he got all of that stuff replenished because he was patient and he never stopped, believing in God and everything. So it's like that was a long time that he went through a lot of stuff until he was tested. So I hope people don't think if they live a perfect Christian life that they're not going to go through anything, because you
Correct.
still go through stuff, But that made it sound so cut and dry. You do this and you're good. You do this, you're going to hell and your life is
Right.
awful.
Yeah,
I think it's just not black and white.
that's what they were trying to. That's what this was trying to say. Trying
Right.
to do the difference, or what the Old Testament had. Like it is cut and dry. They divide it into like two categories. It's good and bad. Ahmed Brown said that's why we are supposed to repent daily, but not repenting the same thing. When you repent it, you turn from your wicked ways and you do it again no more. Otherwise, you're willfully sinning. Correct.
Right. Because I'm just, that's like, I 100% agree with Alma, because it's like, if you can do the same stuff over and over and just say I'm sorry every day and keep doing it, what's the point?
And she was answering your question too. Thank you, Ahmed Brown. Job kept the faith and he never wavered, and that's why he was replenished of what he lost. Thank you, Ahmed Brown. Thank you for that. Yes.
Right. But he had to go through, a pretty long period of time of losing everything. That's why I'm like, I hope people don't think the Christian life is going to be perfect because you do the right things, because he was put through a lot,
Yeah.
And his faith was tested for, I don't know what the time period was, but for you to lose everything,
Mm-hmm.
I can't even imagine. I only have one child. I can't imagine losing her and still, just moving on and keep it going. You know what I mean? Like it's just
you know
like,
what? I'm glad you said that, because one thing I do believe is God will never give you nothing that you can't handle. He'll never give you too much that you cannot bear. And I believe that wholeheartedly.
I believe that too.
And it may not make sense to us then, but it really does in the end. Like, you'll understand it more. Let me just continue. The careful combination of the words generational and curse doesn't make our problems sound too big to solve by ourselves. It makes them sound too big to solve at all. Of course, curses aren't solved, they're broken. And when, how, or if that happens is often out of our hands. There's no blueprint for how to remove bad omens. And when people are broken, the last thing they need to be told is that their healing is just a conceptual as what's ailing them.
Okay, now you may have to break that down for me a little bit.
So basically, they're saying like curses they're not solved. They're not solved, they're broken.
Okay.
And
so like there's not a remedy to fix it. You just gotta walk away. Right.
If there is a curse, it's the one we cast every time we deny our ability to change the trajectory of our lives.
Okay.
Do that make sense to you? Do you understand that?
Yeah.
If you believe in a curse, then you're denying yourself the ability to change.
Right, because it's almost like you're accepting, well, this is my destiny.
Right.
To be cursed. So I'm stuck. You know how you hear people say, I'm stuck with this lot in life because of blah, blah, yada, yada. Yeah, and let me play devil's advocate too on your other point that you made. Speaking of breaking curses and stuff, you know how you were just saying you're a firm believer that the Lord won't put more on you than you can bear. Mm-hmm. What if there's somebody out there that's in a generational curse, and because they are surviving, even though they're miserable, they think, well, the Lord won't put more on me than I can bear, and that's why I'm gonna hang in there.
So when I say that, it's not the end all be all. Yeah, he's
Right.
not gonna read it again, BB. Okay, wait. Let me, where is that? Okay, let me read it again. The careful combination of the words generational and curse doesn't just make our problems sound too big to solve by ourselves. It makes them sound too big to solve at all. Of course, curses aren't solved, they're broken. And when, how, or if it happens is often out of our hands. There's no blueprint for how to remove bad omens. And when people are broken, the last thing they need is to be held that their healing is just a conceptual as what's ailing them. Wait, I'm sorry. I messed that whole sentence up, y'all. I'm sorry. The last thing, I'm sorry. The last thing they need is to be told that their healing is just as conceptual as what's ailing them. That makes all the difference in the world, that one word, as. So Almond said he will be persecuted by men and they will revel, and they will revel is and say evil things against falsely for his name's sake. He won't have it easy, but he has given us the tools. Correct. And that's what I was about to say, is that when I say he won't give us too much that we can bear. But guess what? We also got to do the work.
Right.
You understand? We can't depend solely on, oh, God ain't gonna give me too much to handle, so I can just sit here and just take it and nothing. Right. No, we still have to do the work.
Exactly.
If you recognize that you're in a generational curse, then you should be able to begin to break the curse, in my opinion. Right. I myself do not believe in generational curses, but I will tell you that I did think that I was living the same, like my father was living one life where he was at, and I was literally identical with what he was doing in a whole nother area, not even speaking to him or knowing what he was doing. However,
isn't that crazy?
Yes. However, when he passed away, just hearing his wife come, I'm not going to just talk about him and really be so hurt about the things he did to their family made me change my life and what I was doing.
Wow.
Because I didn't want to ever leave this earth and leave my children hurt the way he left his.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's true. If I guess maybe I'm around this the problem. Some people don't recognize it. Where she's saying, if you recognize that you're in a generational curse, maybe some people don't recognize it.
Or even if they recognize, maybe they don't think they have the ability to change it. They just fall victim to it being a generational curse.
Yeah, I know. For our family, I come from a long line of alcoholics. Now, my dad is the only one out of his brothers. He's got like 6 brothers that's not a drinker. But he has his other, it's like everybody has a vice. His thing is he got into the casino. He loved going to the casino, and he smoked cigarettes. So he's always saying that, our family has an addictive personality because everybody drank and had their vice. So I guess he kind of looks at that as like a curse.
To me, that's called a bad generational decision that everyone in the family is just taking ownership of. They don't have to. You don't have to, but you're choosing to do it. It's like, it's easier to just say, oh, well, everybody else do it, so I'm just going to do it too.
Right. because that was his thing. He refuses to drink because it's like the whole family has drank for years. He didn't want to go down that path. So, that would be a choice, generational choice.
Pretty much. But guys, I thank you everybody for wait a minute, let me see. You can change something you don't know about. You can't change something you don't know about. But
Right.
we have to open our eyes and see the pattern of our family. If most have taken the same wrong path and you see that, do you then keep walking? Definitely. Thank you. Yes. Thank you.
That's where that choice comes in.
That's where that choice and making that decision comes in.
Yeah.
And you have to decide, do I want to break this? I don't want to be the next one dying from alcoholism. I don't want to be the next one going through physical abuse with a partner or being the abusee. We tear. I've heard men say, "Yeah, in our family, the men don't play. We keep our women in check." And is that a good thing? Like, do you feel like that now you bringing your young sons up thinking that, yeah, well, my daddy do it, so I got to do it this way too.
Yeah. And I think it's the same thing too. I've heard a lot of people say, well, my grandma had my mom when she was 14, and my mom had me when I was 15, and I had my daughter when I was 16. I've heard some people categorize that as a generational curse, but I think that also is generational choice.
Brown, I welcome that. I really appreciate the banter. I really do. Like, there's no such thing you can talk too much. No, because this is a good conversation piece to have. And you're teaching me. You're sharing things that I'm learning from as well. I'm glad that you know the Bible, girl.
And I'm the same way, Brown. Every reason I hopped up here because I'd be typing a book down there.
Yes. But yeah, so like I said, the real curse is believing that we are powerless to break it. Generational curse, again, from a Bible standpoint, yeah, they make a lot of points. However, I don't think it's God's will to curse us.
Right.
I don't think that. And God is all around me. I don't deal with the devil. I have no dealings with him. He tries to come around me, but I shake him off. And it's easy for me. It may not be easy for a lot of people, but it's easy for me because I know how to deal with him. I really do.
Honestly, as I love the Lord, I'm not on the Friday night. I hear you. I'm just saying, I hear you.
We all love the Lord. We know we do, and you love him on Friday night too. Please don't short yourself, Brown. Please, he knows what you're about to do before you even know it. He wrote the book on you, baby. He know you better than you know yourself. Always understand that.
Yep.
So, guys, this has been nice. Thank you so much for joining in on the conversation. I'm just going to end this tonight with I thank you. And again, you are responsible for what you are going to bring and bestow onto your family. You do not have to follow the same guidelines that were previous, from your mother and from your grandparents. You don't, if it's not something, you take what you can, because there are a lot of good nuggets from our mothers and our grandparents, but you take those nuggets, but the bad habits and the things that wasn't so nice, throw them away. You don't have to grab onto that.
Yeah.
You don't have to hold on to that. Those are not your burdens to bear.
Right. Well, thank you for letting me come up, BB.
No problem. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Again, everybody, thank you. Wait a minute. Let me read. Amen. His will is for us to have eternal life and live life here on earth abundantly. Oh, he knows I love him. That's right. 24/7, 365, 366. Thank y'all for welcoming me. No problem. Thank you for coming through. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Fair Change. Thank you, Miss Bernadette. Thank you so much, Melissa. Who else came by? Who stopped by? Tanya Jones. Thank you for stopping by. It was somebody else. We had somebody else. Cobra, of course. And anybody else in the clouds listening that didn't want to stop by and say hello. But again, thank you guys. Have an awesome night. And I will see you around these streets, people. Peace.